What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News. Top of the morning to everyone across the pond. Good night to everybody here. And I have some new news concerning Yordenis Ugas versus Abel Ramos. Now, first of all, Ugas beat Ramos in a split decision. Okay, that's the problem right there we want to focus on. A little bit about the fight study between and what went on in the fight. Ugas used the jab, beat him to the punch with the jab, set up everything else. Those dynamic left uppercuts he likes to throw in the inside. You know, he was landing at will. He was forcing Ramos back, okay? And Ramos is really accustomed to being the aggressor because he is a tough kid. He's a tough customer, okay? So we can't forget how tough he is. However, that does not improve his performance in this fight. Okay? And the right person won. But we have to really ask ourselves, what the hell are these judges looking at? What are they basing their wins of rounds on? Okay? Ever since we've been fighting in the bubble, we've had problems with weird scorecards. They get more stranger and stranger as time goes on. We've seen it. Okay? We have seen the same thing before. This is a PBC fight, okay? But these judges are proving themselves not a credible person or not suitable to be judging anybody. Okay? And let me go into that for a second. All right? We have 115, 113 for Ugas. Then another 115, 113 for Ugas. Now, mind you, the major scorecard is 117 to 111. Lou Moret, what the hell were you looking at? Were you drunk? Were you trash? Were you stoned? Were you tired? Do you know anything about fucking boxing? Where's your credibility? Who are you really? Why did you score 117 to 111? That's what I don't get for Ramos. Ramos didn't do shit except land a good left hook in the last round. And even if because he did it in the last round, you had to already score the rest of the fight. So you already scored the rest of the fight for Ramos, and Ramos didn't do shit. He didn't do anything. So I don't understand, again, what were these guys looking at? You know, this is weird stuff. And see, now we look at the other two. Oh, yeah, Ugas won, but damn, by how many? By 2 points? So maybe all these judges were on the fucking take. Okay? Maybe they were on a take because they saw something that everybody else didn't see. You couldn't have had it that close if you watched that fight. That's the question. What fight were they looking at? Were they really looking at their phones and just, hey, yeah, 9, 9, 8, 10. Yeah, 9, 10. Yeah, 10, 9. Yeah. Ding, ding. Oh, yeah. Wait, what? You scored? Oh, okay. 10, 9. That type of shit. Because it had to be something I feel is orchestrated, planned. No one gets these close. Lou Moret, sure, he was paid to go way off the scale, but I think the other ones were meant to be a little closer. You know, and I really don't understand why. I have a theory, people, and my theory is simple. Certain fighters, especially fighters that doesn't really hold a great markability in the sport of boxing, but are good fighters, great IQ, you know, very dedicated to their craft, like Cubans, they fit the bill perfectly. They're not from Mexico. They don't have a whole country behind them, or from the Philippines, or from Puerto Rico. They don't have that, okay? Cuba is a place that they only glorify Olympic Games. They don't like to pay for money because they don't believe in people making a full access. You know the communist route. If you don't know, it's basically you make a certain amount, you make a certain amount. No one could ever just get ahead of someone else due to hard work and dedication. Okay? No one. So that's what it really tells you or it tells me, when it comes to Cuba. But they don't have a country behind them. If their country supported professional boxing, you wouldn't have split decisions like this one with Ramos, like Ugas and freaking Porter. You know what I mean? These fights were protected for these other fighters to win, not these Cuban fighters. Look at Erislandy Lara, okay? Look at that guy. He won more fights than he actually lost. But he's been screwed over a couple times where it just leaves you like, okay, that ain't right. The first time I seen Erislandy Lara, a Cuban fighter, that's why I'm mentioning him, was when he fought Paul the Punisher Williams, and I seen how skilled he was. I seen he was a short kind of, Floyd Mayweather-like dude, but in a southpaw stance, and he had a sniper left hand, and he could not miss Paul Williams. Okay? Now, reference this fight here. Let's look at the total punches. The total punches between Yordenis Ugas and Abel Ramos is 233 landed total for Ugas. Okay? 109 landed for Abel. That's way over half. Okay? That's over half the punches. Right? 30% connect percentage from Ugas, 17% from Ramos. So that should tell you enough right there, like, okay, you guys can't see one guy is hitting the other guy more than the other guy. You know what I mean? But again, it goes back to who put these officials in the place that they're in, because they do a terrible job each and every time. I'm sorry. Especially when it comes to a Cuban fighter, because they don't have a country behind them. They like to pawn off Cuban fighters for either tough fights or gatekeepers or just really promote them just to keep them away from certain other fighters. People do that. It's shitty, but they do. Because they know these guys are a threat. Yeah, he wins the WBA. That's great. But how did he win? No thanks to these cocksuckers. You see what I'm saying? No thanks to these guys. Because these guys looks like they were up for grabs. But again, they could be drunk. They could just be incompetent. But either way, they should go. They gotta go. Because we can't keep having these type of fights towards Cuban fighters, towards that side of the street, because that's all I really see. I was surprised the night Manny Pacquiao fought Keith Thurman. He fought on the undercard, and he fought, what's the guy's name that was undefeated that he beat? He has a brother. I forget his name right now, but he beat him. And it was one of those things where I thought that they were going to rob him, just because, hey, that particular fighter has never lost. And you look at Yordenis Ugas, he's been in the fire. He's had losses, 2 or 3 losses or 4 losses that could have went either way, honestly. So I think it's one of those situations where the fix was in. And it's mostly on these fighters that don't really have a big country behind them, a big backing. And I think the officials get away with that fact because they don't really have a voice if they don't really have a country. They don't have that fan base that's like, oh, Cuba es el campeón del mundo. You don't have that. I don't even think they're allowed to even watch the shit on TV because it's professional boxing. And I've been thinking that way for a long time based on what I see with these Cuban fighters. The story a promoter or an advisor pins on a Cuban fighter, he got out of Cuba. But I mean, that's great and all. And I know that's a trial and tribulation and a great accomplishment, for Cubanos all over, the country that want to come to America and better themselves. However, I think that we're past that now. I think we're past the point where you look at a Cuban fighter, oh well, his struggle was this or his struggle was that. So, he should just be happy that he's not even fighting for free in Cuba. That's not enough no more, people. When we start treating everyone equal, regardless of what their fan base is, and really open our eyes to see how good these fighters are, how talented, how dangerous they are, how risky these fighters are to other fighters. See, they're so risky and so talented and experienced to the point where if a promoter or a advisor, he would have to set in play a fix. That's why we have scorecards just like this, because of fixes. Things that people pay to go or pay to judge. Okay, they pay to judge these people. I don't even really know who these people are. I've heard of Lou Moret though. But he's the one. If I had to bet any money on if these other scorecards were like this, I don't see anyone contacting him with bull, right? So Ugas, he prevails a weird way, but the positive thing to this is he got the win. It could have been a shut straight out of someone that really just didn't like him, or he could have been in a place where, you know, it's a lot of influence of Ramos. So I think it's really hard for Cuban fighters, honestly. I really do. And this is just another example because Yordenis Ugas has been in a lot of really questionable fights that people ask, like, okay, well, what the hell? Okay? You know, it's like Omar Figueroa. Okay, he beat Omar. Okay, unanimous decision, which I was very impressed. He lost to Sean Porter through a split decision. Now, get this. His last win was from Amir Imam, which he's fell off since then. Split decision, Emmanuel Robles. Okay? And a split decision for Johnny Garcia. That is the record of Yordenis Ugas. See, Ugas has been that guy. He ain't had the country. He ain't had the backing. Right? He has an advisor that takes care of him, I'm sure. But, you know, at the cost of getting judges in like this, you could fall through the cracks. And knowing that you did your best and you know you are the true victor in this situation. But not according to these guys, because these guys are trying to make money. I don't know what they had in store for Ramos, but they wanted to get Ugas out of there for a particular reason. That's my counterpunch on that. You guys tell me what you think about Ugas versus Ramos. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunch. Peace.